Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Call Allah, Adonai Yahweh, Bashem Shamalak Yahushai, Bashem Rakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, green millstone, peace, citation, and hope for elect. Shalom. I'm going to title this video, I may title it, Thomas Jefferson may have reincarnated as a so-called black man. And for the most part, like I said, being so-called black, Hispanic, Native American, or I might title it like may have reincarnated as a as a brown-skinned man or something like that. I don't know, but for the most part, like I said, being called one of those bywords, black, Hispanic, Native American, doesn't make you an Israelite, honestly, because you have tares within those you have tares within the communities of so-called black, Hispanic, Native Americans. And tares are obviously, they're not the original. Those are heathens. They may look like us, and they almost might look identical to us, maybe even sound like us too, come out with the same features and everything, but it's like they can't act like us, and they can't pretty much, like, they don't carry the same spirit as us. That's why this thing is spiritual. And then you have people that look like heathens, which are, you have Israelites that look like heathens, that they will have the spirit as us, but they don't look identical to us, And when you look at this guy, his name is Shannon Lanier. He's a television reporter in Houston, and he pretty much seems like he loves his history when it's coming to that let's say his sixth great grandfather was Thomas Jefferson, through Sally Hemings, so it seems like he's very passionate about that, like about hearing that part of his history, most likely meaning that he's an Edomite, and this, like I said, he could be Thomas Jefferson, because you see they're doing the picture right here, with the portrait, they're showing how similar he looks to Thomas Jefferson. You see, they almost have the same similar facial structure, so I could kind of see it, and it's like, wow, that's why this thing is all spiritual, And he also kind of sounds a little bit like an Edomite too, the way he talks. He says like, my mother is Sally Hemings, and my sixth great grandfather is Thomas Jefferson. He talks, it's almost just like an Edomite. So, like I said, my spirit, I feel like it's, I could kind of feel something in my spirit that this guy could very well be Thomas Jefferson in the reincarnation. I'm not for sure. I don't know for sure, but reincarnation is a thing in the scriptures, and you come through your father's seed line, and within 3 to 4 generations, and he's pretty much like the 6th generation, like, the 6th great grandson of Thomas Jefferson. So yeah, and pretty much the scripture right here proves reincarnation, saying in that 2 Ezra 14 verse 35 says, for after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. And basically, you come upon this earth and you live out your judgment that that the Most High has set up. So yeah, and everybody goes through some form of judgment. So some others may be worse, some may not be as bad. So just be grateful that, that you're living a life that may not be as as bitter and horrible as others, you know what I mean? But for the most part, like I said, about like how reincarnation works, that you come through your father's seed line and stuff like that. And that guy, like I said, he could very well be Thomas Jefferson. If you look at his videos, Shannon Lanier, you will see how he acts, um, how he's so proud to embrace me and the having a president in his family, you know. So, and like I said, my spirit obviously tells that guy is a fucking tear, is a Edomite, but I still kind of feel in my spirit that he is Thomas Jefferson. Like brothers be saying, the tears are not the original. They're not like our people. They may look like us, but they're not. So, clearly that guy is obviously going to be in slavery for 1,000 years, because of that. And they will say that, oh, he's, they'll have our people saying that, oh, he's black. It's, because of his skin color and stuff like that. When being called black is a byword. Another scripture that goes into reincarnation, Psalms 104, thou hidest thy face, they are troubled, thou takest away their breath, they die and return to the dust, thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. The glory of the Lord shall endure forever, the Lord shall rejoice in his works. So it just shows you that's the, pretty much the cycle of life, And when you look at Thomas Jefferson and his account with this, the Hemings family, he had a few children for, I think it was 2 different women, if I'm correct. Yeah, I'm right. Because his wife was Martha Jefferson and his concubine was Sally Hemings. And despite Sally Hemings being a slave, because of her grandmother being an Israelite, even though her father and her grandfather were Edomites, it doesn't matter. They, they don't care if you're Edomite, if you're one of their people, you know what I mean? Because Esau's so stupid. He put his own people in slavery because he felt like if there was a slave in your family, whether it be a mother, father, and obviously for being a slave, like they had, mostly the dark skin color, like brown skin, whether they be maybe like a light brown or a medium, like brown or just like dark brown. They still put that child in slavery, even though that child was considered to be like partially black or whatever. And that's a stupid thing because Esau basically, like Thomas Jefferson had kids with Sally Hemings, and he put the rest of the Hemings family in slavery. But the kids that he had from Martha Jefferson, since they were like, Edom, since she was an Edomite, those kids weren't slaves at all. Well, this is stupidity within Esau. So even when they were having our people in slavery, they had a little Egyptian against Egyptian right there. The Most High, placed the curses upon them for doing what they did to us. You see? And sometimes people will be thinking that, oh, because that person is black, they still are people in hell? No, because they have like brown skin or whatever. That's why calling yourself black is a fucking curse. Because all your life you was made to believe that people like because I feel like Frederick Douglass, obviously since his father was white, most likely he was a tear. People like him and other Edomites as well that are so-called black, like what's the other one, Booker T. Washington. Yeah, because his father was white too. But don't get me wrong, sometimes like you may have like some people that may be considered as white, but they actually were a Jake that appeared to be looking like an Edomite. Because sometimes you have some examples like that, like their father was a confusion of face and they ended up being looking like that, their father, but they're still an Israelite because of that father. And sometimes you might have their father could be a tear, their father could look like a so-called black man, right? But his father, or let's say his grandfather, could be a Edomite and his lineage traces back to Esau. The Most High have examples like that. He has tons of examples of of the Tyr lineage and the Israelite lineage, even if that Israelite appears to be a confusion of face, like the father, the grandfather. That's why this whole thing is spiritual. You don't go by looks and stuff like that. You go by the spirit. And you could tell the difference between the spirit of an Edomite and the spirit of a Jake, especially when you're teaching this word to them, seeing how they react to the questions, how their character is being portrayed, how their spirit is. Yeah. And the level of cognitive dissonance they have, that's the number one, because even though 2/3 have cognitive dissonance, Esau has like the highest level of cognitive dissonance of all. Even if they're supposedly supposed to be really wise in the world. I'm talking about like wise as in maybe being an all A student, straight A student, Yeah. Well, that's it on that. I don't want to make the lesson too long, longer than it should have to been, That's my thoughts on this. I feel like that guy, Shannon Lanier, I feel like he is Thomas Jefferson in the Reincarnation. Because he looked just like that guy, Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, just like a melanated version of him. And when he go back into the when he goes into slavery, all that melanin is gonna be stripped of him. It's gonna serve no purpose for him. I mean, well, because it's like he has the melanin now, but in the kingdom, he's gonna get all that taken away from him for being an Edomite. So yeah, I hope I made the lesson edifying. Let's give all glory, praise, and honor to our Nama Yahweh, Bashem, Shalom, Yahweh, Bashem, Fakadash, to the honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace, citation, hope for that. Yahweh, Yahshua, Bakasha, Shalak, Wayam, Arawamyam, Wa, Gawayam, Wa, Ababal, Shalom.